you action figure enthusiasts out there, JC here, and welcome to a Monday edition of TNInews Live. And we've got a lot to go over today. We've got a lot of pre-orders coming up this week. It's going to be another big pre-order week. So we're going to go over everything from Hasbro, McFarlane, that should be going up for pre-order this week. So we've got G.I. Joe Classified, we've got Marvel Legends, we've got DC Multiverse, we've got Star Wars. So again, it's going to be a packed week. Sorry I didn't get any videos up last week. It was a couple of different things. It was kind of a slow week, to be honest. Really, the only talking point last week seemed to be all about tariffs, which we'll talk a little bit about today. But wasn't a ton of news last week. I also had neighbors who were doing some remodeling next door in their basement, and it was making a lot of noise through the wall. So I didn't think it was going to be very conducive to doing a live stream while all that was going on. So, but again, we do have a bit to talk about today. Let us do a quick roll call. Let's just see who is in the house here. So we've got Austin. Happy Monday to you. Another happy Monday to Jeremy. We've got Zim is in the house. What is up, Mr. Allmine? Good to be back. Good to be back. Felix is in the house. What is up? John is in the house. Good to see you. Everett is here. We've got Buff88. What's up? Judge Dreads is in the house. We've got Turtle Dave. What is up? Finally made a live stream. Work is slow. Hopefully work is slow in a good way, not a bad way. But definitely good to have you here, Turtle Dave. Back Zombie is in the house. Buff88, what is up? Yo Joe. James is in the house. Good to see you. Technodrome is here. Good to see you, my friend. Slim Jim's 007. Yo, what's up? We've got the Mass Figure Collector from the UK. Good to see you, my friend. So it looks like we have a pretty full house. Now, before we get into today's news, I also just wanted to share a new addition I have to the collection room here. So I've talked about how this was something I was debating on getting, but I did decide to finally get it, and I've gotten it set up. So let me change the camera angle here. All right, so let's just, before we get into the news, let's just see what else you guys are saying. Oh, did shit? Did lose audio? Oh, sorry. I guess the second camera didn't pick up the mic. So you saw what I was talking about. I basically just said I added the Cat's Lair, um, which worked out nicely. Let me see if this. I hate these technical glitches. All right. Hopefully, you guys can hear me. Uh, with both cameras, can you hear me now? All right. All right. So what I was saying is, talked about whether I wanted to get this or not. I finally decided to get it. It arrived last week. This was the space I ended up having for it, making for it. I had to remove 2 shelves from that area, but it ended up working pretty well. So um, I did have to take off the mountain pieces, which are attached. They fold in the back, so you can keep them closed. But I did just take them completely off because even when you close them, it still makes the playset more wide. And while it fits pretty well on the shelf, that you can see, I don't know how well you can see, but the claws actually do, and the stairs do come. They're a little bit wider than the shelf. Not like it's going to fall over or anything, but it does technically. Um, Extend a little bit beyond the actual shelf. So I wanted to take the mountain pieces off just so I could push it back a little bit more. And I don't have the width to open the mountain pieces up like intended. But what I did is I took the mountain pieces off completely and then I just sat them on the side up against the walls of the shelf area there. So they still, the mountain pieces have some space so that you can put some figures on it, which you can still do. So it ended up working out pretty well. I don't know how well you can see it, but underneath there's a shelf where I have my Thunder tank. So now I have my Thunder tank and my Cat's Lair all together. All my ThunderCats are displayed on the front of the Cat's Lair, and then I have my villains. You can see off to the side here. So this is now my ThunderCat area of the collection room. So, and again, it worked out pretty well. One other slight modification I made to this thing was I bought off of Amazon. It's this thing takes the eyes light up and the chest lights up. There's also a computer screen on the inside. The one downside to this setup that I have is you can't really get to the back of it. This is definitely the way I have it set up, made for displaying and looking at it, everything from the front. And there are a number of accessories that come for putting inside the Cat's Lair, which for me, really, I just ended up putting in a bag and putting it in a drawer because I really can't get to the back of the playset with the way it's set up here. But I bought off Amazon. Again, this thing takes 3 AA batteries to keep it lit, but I didn't want to, I wanted to be able to keep the lights on, but not have to worry about the battery draining. So $15. It's a little power cord that attaches to a battery that is AA sized. And then you get 2 additional dummy batteries. So like with this, again, it takes 3. You put the one with the power cord in, and then you put the 2 dummy batteries to complete the circuit. And it basically allows you to keep it lit with an electrical cord, essentially. So there's not, this is something, again, I bought separately. You can get it off Amazon, about $15. But now I can keep it lit without worrying about the batteries going dead. So, which is something I really like with play sets like this. So, just to look, if you want to, if you end up getting this or have it and you want to keep it lit all the time, again, just look at power cord battery or something like that on Amazon, and it'll pop up. So, and not very expensive at all. So pretty happy with it. I paid about $1,000. I ended up getting it off Big Bad Toy Stores. I talked about before. I didn't get this when it was originally offered through Super 7 as a crowdsource, so I did end up paying a bit more. I think originally it was like 700 and something. So Big Bad Toy Store ended up carrying it, and they obviously were charging a little bit more for it. But I ended up, biting the bullet and getting it because I really started kicking myself that I ended up passing on this. Mainly because, again, I didn't think I was going to have any space for it, but I did end up finding this space here, as you can see. All right, all right. So sorry about that. I forgot when I switched over to just the second camera, the audio would shut off. So sorry for the couple of minutes of silence there, but you got to enjoy, viewing my new playset there. So all right, so let us. Oh yeah, definitely. We'll do that. I mean, I don't not that worried about it fire hazard, but definitely anytime I leave the house, I don't generally leave things like that plugged in. Probably won't even leave it plugged in at nighttime, but definitely during the day when I'm here and stuff. Definitely enjoy leaving the lights on all the time and not have to worry about the thing going dead. Yep. Well, I mean, again, it wasn't cheap to begin with, but and it was still cheaper buying it from Big Bad Toy. Like I looked on eBay, and buying it on eBay was even more expensive. So, and I also figured I'd heard some people have issues with like missing parts or broken, things that had broken, and everything came completely good with this one. Um, the other thing I mentioned when the mic wasn't working is the box. The whole thing's huge, but the box that this thing arrives in, it actually arrives in two boxes because the head and the claws arrive in a separate box. But the main box that the thing arrives in is freaking huge. And I joked, I was like, if the economy goes bad, I spent $1,000, but you know what? If the economy goes bad and I lose my house and all that, I think I could probably live in this freaking box because it was so big. So, um, the thing was just huge, but it arrived. Everything was in good condition, so no problems there. But even though it was more expensive on Big Bad Toy Store than what it was originally, it was cheaper than the prices I looked at when I looked on like eBay and stuff. So a lot of detail wasted on details on the backside. Could have saved some money. Yeah, I mean, for me, 100%. And that thought crossed my mind is like, I really all these extra accessories that go on the inside are not really something I'm going to use. But I think some people might enjoy being able to access it from the back. Again, the way I have it set up with the it goes all the way back to the wall, so you really can't see it. But if you had it like on a table, just sitting out on a table that you could walk around, then I think having the interior with the stuff, and it comes with some pretty cool stuff. It comes with like the table with the chairs that the Thundercats would sit around. The computer console systems are pretty nice back there too, and you get little like it provides you with like things that you can put on the screen, and you can change it up and stuff. So some pretty cool stuff. And the claws lift up. They give you some cannons that you can sit in there. Obviously, that would be where like the Thunder Tank goes, but again, the Thunder Tank is not to scale, obviously. But still overall, like I said, I think they did I just don't think they could make this thing any bigger and make it practical. But I think they did. I give my hats off to Super Seven for I think doing a pretty good job with this thing. Um, though again, this thing is definitely even for those who just got it directly from Super Seven, it wasn't cheap. Let's see. How much longer will Super Seven? As far as I know of, there's no indications that Super Seven's going out of business anytime soon. There are probably a couple other companies that I would possibly consider could go out of business before Super 7. I'm not going to say those names because I don't want to start rumors, unsubstantiated rumors or stuff. But there are definitely a few other toy companies that I feel like have shown concerning signs that might be having some issues, more so than Super 7. Everett, I believe the turtle figures, and I don't actually own any of their turtle figures, so I'm not an expert, but I want to say they're probably around 5 inches, something like that. The human characters for those lines are 7 inch scale. Judge Dredd says, "I wish the Cobra Mothership had funded. I would have bought that. It was that was a pretty cool one. I mean, I had no interest in that because it was for 3 3/4 inch reaction figures, which I just don't collect these days. So I would have had no interest. Not to say that doing a 6 or 7 inch scale one is practical, but I just the smaller scale stuff just doesn't interest me that much anymore." All right, so let's get into the news today. So let's start off with Marvel. So only thing I really have for you today is that I feel pretty confident that we're going to see Daredevil Born Again figures go up for pre-order this week. So I wrote a piece on Marvelous News yesterday explaining my reasoning for this. I don't have any inside information. I'm just doing some deductive reasoning here with this. However, I will say since I posted this story yesterday morning, Dan Young did come out on social media and confirm that there will be some kind of Marvel Legend pre-order this week. He didn't say what, he didn't say when, um, but definitely makes me feel even more confident that I'm right that we're going to be getting the remaining Daredevil Born Again figures going up for pre-order this week. So, you may recall last week the Daredevil figure went up for pre-order, still available for pre-order pretty much everywhere. It may have sold out on Amazon. I'm not sure. It did at least at one point. I'm not sure if it's still sold out, but so I want to fix something here. Don't need both cameras going. So, but it's definitely still available at places like Big Bad Toy Store and Entertainment Earth. But my main reasons for why thinking this is the week for Daredevil Born Again figures. So as I've talked about before, there should be 2 additional figures going up for pre-order based on the Disney Plus series for season 1. This week will be the final episode of season 1. Tomorrow, the final episode of the season premieres. And I'm pretty sure that Punisher is going to have a role. I think we'll see Punisher in his true, Punisher gear. We've seen one episode with Punisher in it, but he wasn't wearing his, Punisher outfit. So I think we will see that tomorrow. And I think that's why Hasbro has not put that figure up for pre-order when they put up Daredevil. Because even though we pretty much know what Punisher looks like, I think they wanted to wait until he fully premieres in the series before they put the figure up for pre-order. So that's one reason, because we've got the final episode. We should get the full reveal of Punisher. As I've said before, there should be 2 additional figures that go up for pre-order, one of which 99.9% sure will be a Punisher figure based on listings I've seen. And the third figure, I do not have the name for. I think we can speculate that it's either going to be White Tiger, the Muse, or possibly Wilson Fisk Kingpin, but I don't think so, mainly because I think if it was going to be Kingpin, first of all, they wouldn't have kept the name a secret because we've known Kingpin was going to have a significant role since day one. We've seen Kingpin since day one. I think if it was going to be a Kingpin figure, I think it would have gone up for pre-order with Daredevil. So the third figure, was one that they kept fairly tight under wraps for spoiler reasons. And so I don't think it'll be Kingpin. Won't 100% rule it out. Certainly would make sense, being he had such a critical role in the show, like in a black suit or something, would kind of make sense. But I don't think it's going to be Kingpin. The other possibility is Bullseye, which we saw in the first season and saw last week's episode, though not in costume. But I think, again, this final episode, that might change. So my feeling is that the third figure, and this is 100% a guess, it very well could be like White Tiger or Muse, but I'm going to guess it's going to be Bullseye. And another thing I wanted to just share as to why I think Bullseye is a good candidate is because some images popped up online. These should be going up for pre-order this week. These are Funko Pop figures, but you can see here a new Daredevil and a Bullseye figure are going to be going up for pre-order for Funko. I believe a Punisher one will be going as well, but and there's a couple others as well. Muse will be there, but being I just between Muse, White Tiger, and Bullseye, I think Bullseye will be the most popular, which is kind of why I'm leaning towards it being Bullseye over the Muse or White Tiger. But so I mean, the third one, again, I really don't have any clue. The name was kept, like I said, pretty hush hush for the spoiler nature of the character, I'm sure. But my guess is going to be Bullseye along with Punisher that go up for pre-order. So the way I think this is going to go, and this is my speculation, because again, all Dan Yun at this point has said is that there will be a Marvel Legend pre-order. But I think we'll get the premiere of the show, the final episode of the season tomorrow evening. And then on Wednesday, probably through some, as far as I know, there's not going to be like a live stream or anything. So it'll probably come through some type of corporate media site or even on their own, Hasbro's own social media. They'll release the pictures of the final two figures, and they will announce that it will go up for pre-order on Thursday. Our sponsor, Entertainment Earth, does have on their Drop Zone page a Hasbro listing for Thursday. Again, not clear what exactly that is, but I'm speculating it is going to be the Marvel Legend figures. Tomorrow Hasbro pre-orders are going to be G.I. Joe. That's 100% confirmed, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes here. Friday, there will be Star Wars pre-orders. Friday kicks off Star Wars Celebration in Japan, and there will be Star Wars pre-orders on Friday, I'm pretty sure. Actually at a special time of 3 p.m. Again, according to normally Hasbro pre-orders go up at 1 p.m., but I guess because of the time differences of Star Wars Celebration, for some reason they're doing them a little bit later in the day. Hasbro does have a panel. They are going to be doing some reveals at Star Wars Celebration, again in Japan, on Friday, so we're going to get some pre-orders for that. But again, I'm thinking Thursday, definitely Marvel Legends, and my best guess is Daredevil stuff. The other reason is, for those of you doing Marvel Legends, you realize that you're probably aware that we've been getting Marvel Legend pre-orders once a week for some time now. We've had Marvel Legend pre-orders every week this month. We had the first pre-order this month was the Black Costume Spider-Man figure. Last week's pre-order was the Maximum Hulk. They're based on, from what we knew from the last live stream. However, there was nothing slated for pre-order this week. This was the only week of the month, and nothing for Marvel Legends was slated going up for pre-order. Next week is going to be the She-Hulk figure. That's going to go up on April 24th with the retro card back in the Fantastic Four outfit. So that's next week's Marvel Legend pre-order. And then the last week of this month will be that Amazon exclusive 2-pack with Crossbones and Madam Mask. And even going into the first, couple of weeks of May, we have those Thunderbolt 2-packs. So the first 2-pack with Yelena and Red Guardian go up on May 1st. And the second 2-pack with John Walker and Sentry goes up on May 8th. So, we even have pre-orders going into May. So, really this week would be the only week in the foreseeable future without a Marvel Legend pre-order, which again makes me think, we've got the last episode airing. We've got a confirmed Marvel Legend pre-order of some type happening this week. We've got a listing on Entertainment Earth for Thursday for an unknown Hasbro item. And so that's my brilliant deduction that I've done to come up with that. I think this week will be the week we get the Daredevil Born Again figures or Reborn figures. And keep in mind, I believe these 3 figures and Hasbro has confirmed there's at least one more Daredevil figure, one more figure from the series coming. So they've at least confirmed that, which again, 99.9% sure will be the Punisher. They did not confirm a third one. That comes from rumor, but pretty rumor. That I'm only saying rumor because Hasbro has not confirmed it 100%. But there should almost definitely be a third figure that gets offered this year, and I'm assuming at the same time as the second figure. And again, the only reason why they stretched it out because with these Disney Plus shows, we know Hasbro doesn't like to reveal the figure until they fully appear in the series, which again I think will be in the season finale. Now there is definitely a season 2 of Daredevil coming. They've already started shooting it. There's already been some leaked images from the set of season 2 of Daredevil. So even though I think this year we're only going to see 3 figures from Daredevil, my guess is we will see more Daredevil figures next year for season 2. So just keep that in mind. But again, for this year, I feel pretty confident in saying there's only going to be 3 figures from the Daredevil series. All right, so that's all I have for you on the Marvel Legend front. And, we'll probably hear more tomorrow from Dan Young. Dan Young likes to stretch out these teases. So like I said, late yesterday, he confirmed there will be a Marvel Legend pre-order. If the reveal for the Daredevil figures come on Wednesday, as I suspect, I'm sure either tomorrow or Tuesday, he'll hint to that. He'll say something like, look for a new reveal coming on Wednesday or something like that. All right. So I guess we can just catch up with you guys before we jump on to next. Hey, Figure Fury, good to see you, my friend. Felix, my Cat's Lair is also to the wall. I'll probably never open it and use it. Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, you would have to have a pretty big room with a table that you could just kind of sit out to put it on. I'm not saying that there aren't people, which is why I do think, there will be people who will use it from behind, but probably more than not, people are going to be having it set up on a wall or something. So, you can stick your hand into the doorway, but it definitely is really only accessible. The inside is really only accessible from the back. Question: is the teeth on your Cat's Lair painted badly? Mine is pretty lightly painted. Not anything, not anything that stood out to me. Even looking at it from back here, you can see it's like a silver with some blue. So I won't say badly, or I won't say it's like a fantastic paint job, but it's not like, oh my god, that looks horrible to me. So some people are a little more finicky about that kind of thing than I am, but nothing that like just jumped out at me that was like, oh my god, that looks horrible. Overall, again, I thought it came out looking pretty good. So I have had no real major complaints with it. Let's Let's see. The Dreads, I just got the Playmates Sewers Lair cheap for my city Dio. Pretty cool for $38. Nice find there. Quinn's Comics is in the house. Good to see you, my friend. Hope everything's terrific to you. Same to you, my friend. Felix, they're selling the Sewer Lair already. Judge, where did you get it at? I got the Technodrome for $40 on Amazon. I want to say that, at least here in the United States, the Sewer Lair is Amazon exclusive. Maybe Target, but I thought Amazon. Judge Shred says, yep, confirms Amazon. Everett, at least please make Kingpin bigger because he's supposed to. MCU Kingpin is not that big compared to like the Marvel comic Kingpin. So I got to figure if they do a Daredevil Kingpin, they probably would use the same Kingpin we got before, just repaint it. But that's just me. Hey, Jackie, good to see you. Glad you made it. Better late than never. Hey, Glenn, what is up? Good to hear from you. Road Pig John, is Hordak coming to the Mattel store? Which Hordak are you referring to? But I don't believe there's any. If you mean like the Mattel creation, I don't think there's any pre-orders for Masters of the Universe slated for tomorrow. There is something for Mattel going up for pre-orders, like a general release. If you're talking about the Masterverse one, I don't know exactly when that's going to go up for pre-order. It could be tomorrow, but that's like a general release. Jeremy, do I think tariffs will affect Super 7? I think if the tariff trade war that's been going on drags out for any significant time, it's going to affect every single person in the toy industry. Nobody is going to be spared, big or small. Certainly, smaller companies will have a harder time weathering it. I think a lot of people are just hoping it doesn't last that long. But I guarantee you that if it drags out, it's going to affect every single toy company. It's going to affect prices. It's going to affect supply. You're probably going to see a lot of pre-orders get delayed. I think a lot of places are thinking that they'll just delay pre-orders from shipping, because that's where like a toy retailer gets hit, is when something actually ships from the factory to them. Where the toy manufacturer gets hit is when they start like actually producing something brand new. So I think a lot of places are thinking about holding their pre-orders until all of this stuff ends, and then they'll start shipping stuff up. So I definitely feel like there's a possibility you could see delays with stuff. Again, depending on how long this lasts, and nobody knows that question. It's the whole thing last week. On off, on off, on off. I mean, it's kind of crazy, but nobody really knows what's going on. So, a lot of this just depends on how long this drags out. But again, the tariffs will affect everybody. I guess we can jump into, Big Bad Toy Store last week announced that they are going back to listing their normal prices. And then if the tariffs are still in effect or whatever, when something is ready to ship, they will let you know that, and they will give you the price with the tariff. And you can either choose to pay it or you can cancel your order at that time, which is why, like, the Hulk figure that they listed for pre-order last week, the Maximum Hulk, was listed at the MSRP, which was $60. Whereas Entertainment Earth, right now at least, they've just added the cost up front. I don't know which way is better from a small e-tailer standpoint. If it's better to just, because I feel like the problem with Entertainment Earth with just adding the cost on front is if, say, by the time the Hulk figure ships, um, like I think Entertainment Earth was charging, let's see, their price is $75. So MSRP is 60. They've added $15 extra onto the price because of the tariffs. But the thing is, if say this figure is supposed to ship in July of this year, so say by July everything is subsided, which we can all hope and pray that would be the case. Will Entertainment Earth refund the $15, or are they just going to keep that extra cost? I don't actually know that answer. Since I've seen no indication that um, they would like lower the price for you if the tariffs are no longer in effect when it ships. I'm going to assume not. Whereas again, with the way the big bad toy stores decided to do it, you know, they are, and I just realized you don't have the screen, but so there it is, $75. Um, Entertainment Earth, but again, Big Bad Toy Store currently has it listed as 69, but then they have the disclaimer here about this excludes the tariff surcharge, which they will evaluate when again the figures start shipping out. So if when it ships from the factory in China, which I think is where this figure would come from, then they'll give you the tariff price. But again, if the trade war ends by then they're not going to charge you anything additional. It'll be just like business as usual. Places like Amazon have said that they likely, if this extends for any period of time, and they can of course afford to kind of eat the cost for a little bit, but they have said, their CEO came out last week and said that you could probably expect definitely third-party sellers on Amazon are already started passing on the tariff costs to people, but even they themselves either will stop carrying products that ship from China or they will end up raising their prices. And while we haven't seen anything for the toy manufacturing side, there's also a possibility they could just start raising the MSRP on these figures, which they have not yet done, but that's always a possibility as well. So yeah, tariffs aren't fun. And again, it doesn't matter who you are, big or small, these things are definitely going to hit unless, at some point they put exclusions for toys, which there's no indication at this point that they would do that. This is definitely, if it drags out for any period of time, is definitely going to do a lot of harm to the toy industry, the people who collect it, the people who make them, the people who sell them. It's going to have an effect on everybody. And I don't want to get too political here, but the common theme I always hear from people is, well, toys should just be made in the USA. Well, in a perfect world, that might be the case, but it would take a good 5 to 10 years to even get the manufacturing back in the US. There's just not the infrastructure for that type of manufacturing here in the US. There's also a lot of debate, that type of manufacturing with even here in the US, they would probably be fairly low paying jobs. So would American workers really want to do that, type of work for the type of pay that would be offered? Or if they do pay a decent wage for that type of manufacturing, those costs would almost assuredly be passed on to the consumer. So even if they were manufactured here in the United States, that likely would raise the cost, not lower the cost. So it's not just so easy to say, well, these should just be made in the United States. So, and I'll leave it at that. All right, let's get into NECA. So, this is last week, but we had our first week of Target Haulathon. can't say I was terribly excited about the stuff that went up. I mean, honestly, the only thing I probably would get from Haulathon is the Sesame Street count figure, which has started hitting physical stores, but it didn't go up for pre-order this week. We got the Turtles cartoon, Creepy Eddie, and Sama 2-pack, which does have a price $65. It has sold out. It lasted quite a long time, but it is now currently sold out online. So even at the higher price, people are still buying it, it looks like. Again, these are also hitting physical stores, so I don't know how readily available you guys have to Target, but I've been seeing a lot of pictures online of people finding the stuff at stores. I checked my Target last week, but I think it was Thursday and they didn't have jack shit, but that's my Target. The Gangster 4-pack, Turtle 4-pack, that sold out pretty quickly. That was the first thing to sell out online. Everybody always likes the Turtles. That Beetlejuice figure in the wedding tuxedo, that's still available. This is a 7-inch figure, so that one is still available. And then a plush figure, which I'm not going to, I'm sure that's still available. But that was your drops. Now, Haulathon, it's every Friday, starting last Friday, and we'll go through until May 16th. So every Friday between now and May 16th, there will be new pre-order drops, a variety of products. But, we've pretty much seen what's going to go up, but we just don't know on which weeks each thing's going to go up. We had some other non-Haulathon products go up from NECA as well. Another thing NECA announced is they're doing April O'Neil Takeover 2025. So each week they're going to show some new April O'Neil products. Last week they showed the packaging for an upcoming Archie April O'Neil figure. I don't think we've seen this figure, but now we've seen the packaging. Whether we ever get that movie April O'Neil in the yellow jumpsuit that they teased several years ago, I don't know. But if that is still on the table, then we might see an update on that in the near future. But again, every week we're going to get a new April reveal, and I don't know how long that'll last, probably through the month. Before I get into the rest of pre-orders that went up last week, again, we got this kind of preview of at least Turtle stuff. Pee-wee, again, it's been hitting stores, but that'll go up for pre-order at some point. These additional Turtle figures. So these are all items that between now and May 16th will either be hitting physical stores, many of which already have, or go up for pre-order. The Panda one's going to be pretty popular. I suspect this one will sell out pretty quickly. The Shredder, this new cartoon Shredder, will probably sell out pretty quickly as well. This one I imagine will be pretty popular. So again, that's your kind of preview. But again, we don't really know the breakdown of each week, what is going to go up for pre-order. Just that they will be going up for pre-order. All right, other figures that have gone up for pre-order last week. At Big Bad Toy Store, Entertainment Earth has not yet listed these figures, but we got that. And some of these have been available at other big box retailers already, but we've got the Archie Krang Shredder figure, $40 at Big Bad Toy Store. We got the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Last Ronin, the Lost Year's Nightcrawler figure, again, $40 at Big Bad Toy Store. Let's see. Those were Haulathon previews. Oh, and this for you Friday the 13th figures, Pamela Voorhees ultimate figure has also gone up for pre-order. So All right, let's get into McFarlane. So, first of all, and what I would consider to be a pretty funny story. So, uh, I would say we were the first ones to post about this last week. Our very own Toy Newman actually got the email. So, if someone else had sent me this email, somebody that I didn't know, I would have thought they were making this up because it seems so far fetched. But apparently, people who ordered McFarlane figures from Walmart have been getting emails from coming directly from McFarlane Toys stating that their order has been canceled because apparently somebody robbed a tractor trailer filled with McFarlane figures. So literally, somebody there was this great heist, I guess, where somebody I don't know if like they snuck in to a warehouse and stole them out of the back of the I don't have any specific details on how the robbery happened. I made up this little image with the Joker, which I've seen people passing around. Of course, they didn't bother to give credit, but nevertheless, I made up the image. But the email itself came directly from the McFarlane Toy Store, and I've even since, and this was last week. Since then, I've also seen some people getting emails, saying the same thing, but in regards to other McFarlane product that they had ordered from Walmart. So this particular one only referenced the Supergirl figure, the DC Page Puncher, a Woman of Tomorrow Supergirl figure, because that was the only figure that Toy Newman had ordered from Walmart. But I believe I saw circulating today a similar email went out in regards to the Killing Joke Joker figure that was originally going to be Amazon and then ended up going up at Walmart. So I think people started getting cancellation notices for that figure as well, because I guess that was also on the truck. Again, we don't have a full breakdown of everything that was on the truck that was robbed. So, I can't tell you how many figures. And again, this is for people who ordered figures from Walmart. So it doesn't seem to have affected any other retailer. Of course, Walmart has been carrying more stuff for McFarlane. Amazon has seemingly stopped, at least for now, carrying McFarlane products. They haven't put up pre-orders for anything new from McFarlane in several weeks, and I don't know why that is. I've seen theories. Some wonder if it's tariff related. Some wonder, I've seen some people float the theory that Amazon was getting too many returns of platinum figures, or people trying to get the platinum figures and then return the regular ones when they didn't get the platinum figures. But I've seen people suggest that might be why Amazon has decided to stop carrying McFarlane stuff. I don't know if that will be a permanent thing or if it's just a temporary thing. But again, it definitely seems like Amazon right now is not carrying a lot in the way of McFarlane products, at least in the United States. Now, Amazon Canada has been listing McFarlane stuff. I don't know if they've actually been offering it for purchase, but here in the United States, at least, it seems like Amazon has put a pause on McFarlane product. But that was definitely a funny story. I mean, it sucks for anyone who pre-ordered and got their order canceled, but just the idea that somebody robbed the truck just struck me as kind of funny. And like I said, I would have like written it off as this was like somebody making crap up. If it wasn't that the person that notified me and said they got the email was somebody that I personally know and know wouldn't like make shit up like that. So, but I definitely thought it was yeah, just reading that. And it's weird that because usually they just tell you, yeah, this figure was canceled, and they don't tell you why. So it's actually even more weirder that they're actually giving you this explanation for why they're canceling it. But I don't know. There you go. And I see a lot of people like on social media say, "Oh, this is fake," and I don't know if they mean like the email's fake or if they're saying like McFarlane and Walmart are making up this story because they're canceling all this stuff. I don't know, but again, if you ordered something from McFarlane recently off of Walmart, you may end up getting a similar email at some point. These Batman the animated series figures with the Bruce Wayne Build-A-Figure has started showing up at physical Target stores thanks to Camp Crystal Lake Collector, who's on Instagram, for sharing this image with us. So this wave was slated for, what was it, last year, and got delayed because of the Bruce Wayne figure for some reason. But it is now starting to hit stores, and I believe will be available online later this month. Going up, GameStop is getting this classic Bizarro figure. This looks much better than in my opinion, than the previous Bizarro that they did. But this is going up on tomorrow. This is being listed as a GameStop exclusive figure, or at least GameStop is the only place right now they're saying will be available for pre-order. It's not actually a gold, or actually it is. It is. So it is a 100% GameStop exclusive. And again, tomorrow is the pre-order for that one. Again, looks pretty good. Looks to me a lot better than the previous Bizarro that we got. We've got this Hal Jordan and armor suit from Return of Superman. This is going up for pre-order tomorrow as well. This will be available at places like Big Bad Toy Store, Entertainment Earth. Normally I would say Amazon, but I wouldn't hold my breath on Amazon. But this is a general release, so this isn't a store exclusive. And again, it does glow in the dark. We got the official images off of Walmart that had the figure listed, not available, but they had the figure listed. So Walmart should be another place that carries this figure. But this one is coming for pre-order tomorrow. We got a lot of pre-orders tomorrow from McFarlane. Return of Superman Eradicator figure. This is another one. This is pretty much just a repaint figure. That one that was done with like the black face and everything. But yeah, this looks more like what I think most of us think of when we think of Eradicator Superman. So again, technically based on Return of Superman. Again, I think the exact same figure, just repainted, but definitely to me looks better. So this is another pre-order. This should be available again pretty much everywhere, except probably, again, I wouldn't hold my breath on Amazon. Now, the other thing you got to keep in mind with McFarlane pre-orders here recently is they've been selling out super fast, which I suspect is because a lot of places they are not allocating a ton of these figures. So I wouldn't be surprised if many of these sell out very quickly. So if you do want to try and pre-order them, I would recommend that you 12 p.m. Eastern time is when McFarlane stuff goes up for pre-order, and I would recommend that you be online around that time if these are ones that you want to add to your collection. Just because, again, in recent weeks, almost every McFarlane DC action figure that has gone up for pre-order has sold out very, very quickly. Mortal Kombat. This one, I don't know here in the United States. This will be a gold label figure. I'm thinking Target, but Amazon Canada had these images up. That often means Target exclusive here in the United States because they don't have Targets in Canada. But I don't know that for sure. This one hasn't been officially announced yet, but it's a glow in the dark. It's not classic Mortal Kombat, but it is a glow in the dark Raiden figure if you like the glow in the dark stuff. And again, I don't have any specifics on when that is going to be available. Cowboy Batman from the Western World storyline. If you've always wanted Batman dressed up as a cowboy, this is another one going up for pre-order. Again, this should be available everywhere. The Jim Gordon figure, the Batman Year One Part 4 figure. This is a Walmart exclusive, so this will be going up for Walmart on the 16th. So this one goes up for pre-order on Wednesday. Again, this one is a Walmart exclusive. It is currently listed on Walmart, so if you want the link, you can go over to TNI, but it is not yet available for purchase. But again, that one is going up for pre-order on Wednesday. Walmart, you never know for sure, but I would guess sometime around 12 p.m. Eastern time. These new Adventure Batman figures were originally supposed to go up for pre-order last week and got delayed. They have not given a new pre-order date. I don't know why they were delayed. Amazon Canada even listed official images for them. So the Silver Batman, and I believe these are all pretty much just reissues with slight paint modifications. And you get these little cell cartoon cell. But Silver Batman, the Demon, and Mr. Freeze are the figures in this wave. Again, they were supposed to go up for pre-order last week. I've not heard anything about an updated pre-order date. I don't know why they were delayed. Maybe somebody robbed them. I don't know. Maybe somebody stole them. I don't know. But again, these were delayed. I have the original, DC Direct figures of these. Well, at least Mr. Freeze and Demon. I don't think I got the Silver Batman, but let's see what else. This is another one, the Alfred Pennyworth from Dawn of Justice. This is going up. This is another one going up for pre-order on Wednesday at 12 p.m. This should be available everywhere. This should not be a store exclusive, but Alfred from the Snyderverse movies is going up for pre-order this week. And I think that's it. We got some last week. We got some GameStop exclusive pre-orders. The Frostbite edition versions of Batman from Three Jokers Red Hood and Game of Thrones Night King figures. So these are the AC translucent type figures. So again, those are being offered on GameStop. I haven't checked to see if they're still available. I suspect they are. And that one is the Red Hood. Yeah, both are still available. So if you want to add those to your collection, again, those are GameStop exclusives. Last week we also got on Walmart one of those bronze Spawn figures. $30 for that one, and it is also still available. So that brings us up to date. I guess we didn't talk about this last week. We got our first glimpse. Action Toy Now. I don't know if he's the origin of these images. I think this was like some type of press event where they had products for the new Superman movie on display. I think we maybe talked about this already last week or the week before. But our first glimpse, and I do use the word glimpse, of the upcoming DC Multiverse Superman and Lex Luthor figures. Very blurry, or small, and when you zoom in on them, it gets blurry. But yeah, I think we talked about. I want to say we already talked about those. All right, let's tap off with. Actually, just real quick. So, somebody was asking about Hordak. I assume they were talking about this new Eternia Hordak. It was listed briefly on Amazon, but no longer there. I wouldn't be they showed off these figures. So it's possible these could be going up for pre-orders soon. We did have some pre-orders was it last week or the week before? I get confused, but it's possible. Like I say, Entertainment Earth does have on their Drop Zone page a Mattel pre-order for tomorrow. I don't know what it is, but it is possible some of these additional Masterverse figures that they showed off, earlier this month could be going up for pre-order. So the Cobra Khan, that's one I definitely want to get. Classic Tila, Hordak. There's a vintage collection Stratos coming as well. So I can't say for sure, but I will tell you again, there is a pre-order coming tomorrow from Mattel. Package images of that. This is up on Target. This is the sketchbook series. This is the second figure in that sketchbook series. But a look at the packaging for that Cyclone figure. This is I don't know if it's a Target exclusive, but that's where the only place right now that it's available. Also, Eternian Royalty. He actually won this figure on Mattel's live stream last month. So he's got it in hand now. So he posted some pictures. But for the Masterverse, based on the classic Masters of the Universe live action movie Blade. So nice look at all the packaging. I don't know when this figure is going to go up for pre-order. I don't think it's gone up for pre-order yet, but they announced it at, was it Toy Fair or San Diego? No, it was San Diego Comic Con, I think, is when they first announced it. Real quick on WWE front, announced today, WWE has renewed its licensing or Mattel and WWE have renewed their license. So they don't say when it lasts to, but for the foreseeable future, Mattel will continue to make WWE figures. And of course, this weekend is WrestleMania. Mattel will be doing some reveals during WrestleMania weekend. They're on hand there in Las Vegas. So we should be getting some new WWE Mattel reveals later this week as well. But again, they did announce today officially that they have extended their license agreement with Mattel and WWE. I wish they would tell you how long these licenses last for in these press releases, but all right, and then finally GI Joe. So tomorrow pre-order Hasbro figures GI Joe. These were ones that they showed renders for. As per usual with the GI Joe stuff, official images always leak out. I think these come from Amazon, but we now have the official images for the regular release figures for tomorrow. So that includes the Monkey Wrench figure, the Major Blood figure, which I thought this was going to end up being on a retro card back, but it's not. It's in regular packaging. It is very similar to the one that we got as the Target store exclusive. I like the added red and everything. So I do think this one actually looks a little bit better than the Target one. I don't know if it looks so much better that it's worth buying this one again, but I'm kind of, for me personally, I definitely will get Monkey Wrench. This one I'm debating. Snake Eyes version 4, and then Armored Cobra Commander. So those are your regular pre-orders. All of them look pretty good. This was never a favorite version of me for Snake Eyes, but I know a lot of people do like this version. For Dreadnoks, we need Zanzibar and Thrasher to really round out our Dreadnoks. Now that we're getting Monkey Wrench, and Thrasher came originally with with his vehicle, so the Thunder Machine. So we have to see if Hasbro's going to give us that. I can't believe, as much as they've been all in on Dreadnoks, I would find it hard to believe they don't give us a Thunder Machine. And I don't think that would be a HasLab. I would think that would be a regular release, but I don't know. And then Armored Cobra Commander, we talked about this when they showed the renders. You get the Iguana, which is Serpentor from the cartoon series when Cobra Commander gets returned to human form after the G.I. Joe movie, and then he takes his revenge on Serpentor and turns him into the Iguana. So, and you get the two heads, you get the Cobra Law snake type eyes, and then you get regular human eyes, which is more in keeping from the comic. You do not get an unhelmeted head. In the comics, it was actually a Crimson Guardsman impersonating Cobra Commander wearing the armor, not Cobra Commander himself, unlike the cartoon. There's a shot from the back confirming that is a backpack piece. So another pretty cool one I think a lot of people will be excited for. in the Major Blood. So again, those are all going up for pre-order tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern time. Those will be available everywhere: Amazon, Big Bad Toy Store, Entertainment Earth, Hasbro Pulse. So those are general releases. One other pre-order for tomorrow will be the Claw, which is a Hasbro Pulse exclusive. So we have not yet gotten the official images for those because Amazon's not carrying it. We just have the digital render. We did see it on display at Toy Fair. I got to look at it personally. Very cool looking. Does come with the pilot, which the original toy did not have. But again, this will be offered. This goes up for pre-order tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern time for premium members. I don't think it's going to sell out that quickly. So even if you're not a premium member, my guess is you'll be able to get this without any problem. But 1 p.m. Eastern time for premium members, and then 2 p.m. for everybody else on Hasbro Pulse. And that is your latest G.I. Joe news. Now, as I mentioned, I don't have any specifics, but Friday kicks off Star Wars Celebration Japan, and we should be getting some reveals that day, and there should definitely be some pre-orders. I don't know what they will be, but we should be getting some pre-orders for Star Wars on Friday, though it looks like it's going to be a little bit later in the day at 3 p.m. Eastern time when those will go up. All right, and that's really all I have for you guys today. I have a layover in Dallas on Wednesday. Only an hour, though. I'd love to check out Texas and eat some steak. Be careful flying, man. God, I, I'm almost afraid to sky. I definitely will never fly out of Washington Reagan National Airport because every time you turn around, there's like some type of near miss or plane crash or plane wreck or planes running into each other at the runway. Definitely, if you're flying, be careful out there. Exactly. Even if we could get factories like they have in China going, which look up some videos of them and they're massive and very highly skilled labor, uh, they make less than minimum wage. I mean, yes, that's why manufacturing left this country because companies figured out they could go to other countries and get cheaper manual labor than those here in the United States. Here in the United States, we started, unions and everything. And so we basically demanded, livable wages for the people who worked in the factories. And so instead of eating those costs, they took manufacturing out of the country, spanning over decades. It's not like it just happened overnight, but that's what happened. Um, and, so there's the factor of even if manufacturing comes, and I'm not opposed to bringing some manufacturing back into this country. I, I think it can be done in a better way than starting a trade war like it's going on now. That's hurting a lot of people, but I am not against bringing manufacturing back. But it's never going to be like the golden age of manufacturing in this country. The other factor is technology, the improvements in technology. I've seen, CEOs of these corporations say even if they bring back manufacturing, they will start looking at investing in more in automation. Robots. Tesla's Optimus robot. Seems to be progressing quite rapidly. So whether it's automation or low-paying wages or what, I don't think. Again, I don't think you're ever going to see a golden age of manufacturing return to this country. And even and what manufacturing you see, I don't think is going to bring tons of high paying jobs like some people seem to be under the impression of. And I'll leave it at that, because if I go any further, then we really start delving into politics, which that just pisses people off. So I don't want to go too deep there, but definitely tariffs to me. Again, it's not and even tariffs themselves, I think, can be an effective tool. Again, it's just the way it's been implemented so haphazardly, where you know we implement them in less than a week, we put a pause on them, and then they're on again, off again. China. I mean, China is where the biggest issue is right now as far as the trade war goes. But then this on Friday evening, the Trump administration announced that they were going to exclude cell phones and computers. But then during the weekend, they clarified, saying that it's only a temporary hold, that they've got a special category of tariffs for microchips that they're going to be implementing in the fairly near future. So again, the reprieve on computers and and cell phones is only temporary. And of course, the stock market goes up and down every time anyone ever says anything, because a lot of the stock market's based on speculation. So you see every day it's like a roller coaster. A lot of people's 401ks. I mean, I don't heavily invest in the stock market, but many people's 401ks are tied into the stock market. Have stocks. And so, like, a lot of elderly people are, as they're watching this, are seeing their 401ks, their retirement start to evaporate, which is very stressful. Again, a lot of this could have, in my opinion, could have been done a lot better than what we're seeing. Felix says Monkey Wrench looks great. Yeah, I'm really happy with Monkey Wrench. Monkey Wrench and Armored Cobra Commander for tomorrow's pre-orders are definite must for me. Um, the Major Blood and the Snake Eyes, I'm kind of on the fence. I probably won't even pre-order those. I'll probably just wait till they get released if I end up getting them. Claw I will probably get as well. I don't know what the price of the Claw is going to be, but being it's got a figure, I'm going to say at least as much as the Snake Armor that went up for pre-order last month, and might even be a little bit more. But I always like the Claw glider, so I will probably get that one of those, just one, but I'll probably get one as well. Oh, Crystal Ball, so I don't think Crystal Ball was on the truck that was hijacked, but I have been seeing people get delay notices on Crystal Ball as well, which is unfortunately a Walmart exclusive. So I haven't gotten any updates on my Crystal Ball that I pre-ordered. So I don't know what's going on with mine, but definitely it looks like that is another figure, not McFarlane related, by Hasbro. But Crystal Ball seems to be getting delayed. Of course, I also got a delay from Target on my Professor Xavier in the green jumpsuit, but I've seen that figure hitting physical stores. I've seen some people already getting that figure, but again, I got a delay notice from Target last week on that one. Everett says, I want the Count from Sesame Street with Bert Nuri. I'm with you there, Everett. That's one I definitely want to get. But keep in mind, that one is not a Target exclusive. That eventually will be available elsewhere, pretty much everywhere carrying the Sesame Street Ultimates. It's just Target's got first dibs on it. Yeah, Hanzo looks like is one of those that got the delay notice. for Crystal Ball. Maurice, if nothing else, COVID taught us that, and I agree with you 100%. That's why I say I'm not opposed to bringing some manufacturing back 100%, but I also don't believe that you're ever going to really be able to usher in a new golden age of manufacturing here in the United States like we had, say, back in the 50s and what have you. I don't think that is very practical. But I agree with you 100%. Definitely things that, for national defense and things like that, we should definitely be trying to bring some of that manufacturing back into this country. But when it comes to toys specifically, I just don't think uh, trying to get toy manufacturing back in this country is very practical. Dean, will be more figures from Daredevil. As I said earlier, I think for this year we're going to get 3. There is a season 2 of Daredevil already in the works, so I definitely have a feeling. And so far, everyone seems to be pretty happy with Daredevil. Um, it definitely has been a little bit slow at times, but it's building to something. I think season 2 will be much more action packed than season 1 was. I think tomorrow's episode will be pretty good. Um, and again, likely will then take us, there'll be a cliffhanger, I'm guessing, at the end of tomorrow's episode that we'll have to wait until season 2. And I've heard rumors about what season 2 could involve, but I don't want to go into that because I don't want to be spoilerish. And I also don't really have any clue whether those rumors are true or not. But, um, but overall, Daredevil seems to be being received well by viewers and fans. So, Hasbro maybe decided, since MCU stuff hasn't been as popular as it once was, decided to be a little conservative with the first round of Daredevil stuff. But I suspect as we go into next year, we will probably see more, maybe some whatever we don't get from season 1 plus, some season 2 figures. At least that's my hope. Felix, I'm assuming you're talking about the Hiya toy one, based on the Chris Pine movies, which I have. I saw it at Toy Fair. I saw it on display at Toy Fair. I haven't heard like the sounds or anything, but the lights work really well on it. And that went up for pre-order late last month. Again, I'm assuming this is the one that you're talking about. So if you're a fan of the Chris Pine Enterprise, then this one, and I do like that it actually, you can see here, it has a USB, so you can keep it lit up. So again, that's coming from Hiya Toys. It's not my favorite design for an Enterprise. I hate the inside, like the interiors of the Chris Pine Enterprise. I hate because it just doesn't look like, most of it doesn't, especially like the engineering section and stuff. It just looked way too big and didn't really look like something that you would see inside a ship. But the outside's not bad. I just, the Star Trek 2 through 6 Enterprise is still my favorite design for this original Enterprise. But again, that's $149. And again, I did see it on like it really, the lights are really nice on it. I didn't hear any of the sounds or anything, but I didn't even actually realize it had sounds. But the lights are actually really nice on it. So if that's the one you're talking about, then yes, I have seen that one. John says new date on Crystal Ball, August 14th. Yeah, I have not gotten anything on mine, but yeah, August 14th seems to be what everyone is hearing. I will tell you, if Walmart ends up canceling Crystal Ball, I'm going to be pissed because again, it is a Walmart exclusive. I mean, I think Hasbro Pulse had a few available, but it's basically Walmart. That's where I pre-ordered mine. So if they cancel the pre-orders, I'm not going to be a happy camper. Hansa, U.S. has a bunch of zoning laws and environmental regulations that do not allow companies to set up shop easily. That's true, though. A lot of those regulations are being removed by the current administration. But again, that doesn't address the primary expense for producing in this country, which is just U.S. labor. And the way corporations operate, any expense like that, they end up passing on to the consumer. They don't eat it themselves. Um, so if they have to pay more for labor, you can guarantee they're going to pay, unless regulations are put in place that prevent them from doing it, which I don't see how they would do that. Then those costs will end up getting passed on to the consumer. And I think with toys, I think that can work for some things, but I think for toys, I don't think that's going to be very practical. And I will tell you, like Lego just announced they opened up a new plant in Vietnam. This was from last week, but they just opened up a new state of the art plant in Vietnam. But they do plan on opening a new plant here in the United States, a manufacturing plant here in the United States. It's supposed to be going up in Virginia sometime 2027, I think, is the projected date. We'll see if the tariff stuff going on delays that in any way or whatever. But I mean, you can see some production returning to the country. I don't think that's a stretch to accomplish. Again, I would say there are probably better ways to do it, but I think you can bring some manufacturing back to the country, just not. Lego's never going to be producing all their Legos here in this country. They're still going to have, Lego has, let's see, it's in the press release here, but I think it's like 7 factories. So the one they just opened in Vietnam is their 6th factory. Their other factories are in Denmark, Hungary, uh, Mexico, and China. And this one other country I can't pronounce. And then if they do open the one in Virginia, that will be their 7th factory. But you're never going to see them like shut down those other factories, I don't think, and produce all their toys here in the United States. That's just not terribly practical. And I doubt having the factory here in the United States will lower costs on Lego. Um, it'll be nice. It'll create some jobs, though. Again, how much of that ends up getting automated with technology, I don't know. But it's not going to, like I say, one factory. It's not going to be. I think where you should focus bringing factory. I think steel and some technology. Though again, the thing with technology is a lot of the minerals that are used to make the microchips and stuff are not readily available in this country. Um, so that's another issue that's at play. Um, so there are a lot of. It's a very complicated situation. It's not and I'm by far no expert on these things. I do pay pretty close attention to it. I do pay very close attention to what's going on because a lot of this does have a personal effect on me, my business, um, the businesses that I work with. So I am paying very close attention. But also, again, I freely admit that I'm not a tariff expert. All right, well, we've run long today, so I think we're going to call it a wraps. Probably should be back on Wednesday. I think I am going to do a contest on Wednesday, either Wednesday or Friday. But I should be back on Wednesday. Also, speaking of contest, if you want some help with the increased prices, we just launched today new contests on TNI for $100 store credit to Big Bad Toy Store. Also on also on Marvelous News. So 2 different contests, 2 different chances to win. All you got to do is basically register and then post, talk about toys, whatever, on the message boards. So it's our Easter edition. We do it, really once a month. But again, especially with rising prices, every little bit helps. So those have launched, and then again, I'm thinking either Wednesday or Friday we'll do a contest here on YouTube for action figure enthusiast members to give away another $100 store credit to Big Bad Toy Store. So where we do the little spinny wheel and we draw, have it pick a name of whoever is here, and they walk away with a $100 store credit. So if you're not yet an action figure enthusiast member, it's just 99 cents. There's a link in the video description below. Again, we'll play it by ear, but definitely this week, either Thursday or either Wednesday or Friday. I'm not sure, but I'm leaning towards Wednesday, especially if we get those Daredevil reveals on Wednesday. But a little bit, we'll play it by ear. All right, guys. So as always, thank you for tuning in, listening to me ramble. I hope everybody does stay safe out there. And until next time, guys, I'll catch you later. Thanks for watching today's video. Now, if you're new to the channel, please think about hitting that subscribe button. Also hit the bell notification so you're alerted every time I upload a new video. For all the latest action figure news, be sure to head over to ToyNewsEye.com, MarvelousNews.com, JediInsider.com, and TFormers.com. And remember, action figures are great,